All right, let's just talk about DK Metcalf, 'cause that's who I've got next.
Knew it. We finally
got a different one?
Nope,
No.
he's my 8.
Okay, so he didn't go too far then. Yeah, man.
He finished 7th overall last year.
Yeah. So we both kind of talked about this ahead of time last season, going into the season, that we didn't think that DK was gonna take over that offense.
My thing was the draft cost difference.
Oh yeah,
And we're running into it again this year. We'll get to it next episode,
Yeah.
talking about Tyler Lockett, but undervalued.
Yeah.
Like always.
Yep.
DK, though, he has proven me wrong in the past, but think I'm giving him his respect. He was 15th in targets last year, 129, 19th in receptions, 83, 7th in yards, 1,303, 11th in yards per catch, 15.7, 8th in touchdowns, 10. So another player who's very efficient.
Yep.
And got the touchdowns. One thing, though, that I found in my research that kind of shocked me, though, was guess who outproduced him in the red zone?
David Moore.
Tyler Lockett. They saw the same targets. Lockett caught 12 passes to DK's 8, and Lockett turned that into more touchdowns. 8 touchdowns to DK's 5.
Wow, that actually is a little shocking,
right?
Well, because
Aren't you glad I'm around?
Yeah, for sure. The thing that, I mean, DK to me, he saw the second most air yards on the season. Like you said, he was
good
17.
stat. That is a good stat to track. Air yards are important.
Yeah, because he gets a lot. He gets downfield.
Yeah.
You said 17th in targets. Yep. I don't think he's ever going to out target Tyler Lockett. It's just not going to happen.
No. Yeah, he's not going to out target.
That's never going to happen. And the only thing that makes me a little nervous, and why I wasn't going to rank him a little bit higher, because I do really like DK this year. It is kind of a high draft. I think he's going at 207 right now, which is a little high.
I really like, but his draft price is probably going to keep me from drafting him in any league.
The thing that makes me nervous is Pete Carroll keeps coming out saying he wants to run the ball
Which
more.
I'm not, they'll run the ball slightly more, but I'm not buying into that. When you have Russell Wilson, I think it's more than likely going to look very similar to last year.
That's fine, but then they still don't win the Super Bowl. So
yeah, well, I think that's more of a defensive
fantasy
problem.
We don't really care about it, but
and we have a problem because last year, like most years, Seattle has 2 seasons.
Right.
One where they set the world absolutely on fire. One where they're very mediocre.
Yep. They forgot how to play football.
DK Metcalf last year was a wide receiver 1 on a week, the same percentage as he was a wide receiver 4 or worse. 37.5% of the time, he was either a top 12 wide receiver or he was outside the top 48.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely had some really bad weeks after that bye week.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I do really like DK
but
this year.
I mean, given those weeks 1 through 14, he was the wide receiver 3, 16.2 points per game. A lot of big explosive games in there with a lot of bust games that average themselves out. Saw 24% target share, which is perfectly fine in this offense because he is very efficient.
Mm-hmm.
He honestly, I still keep getting caught up. I can't believe Tyler Lockett outproduced him in the red zone.
Yeah. I do think he is going to be a big play guy this year.
Can he be the number 1 overall wide receiver?
No.
I don't think so either.
But I do think he has pretty good upside, though.
Well, yeah, 100. I mean, this is if he lands here, that's a great.
Yeah, I think he has good upside. I think he could be possibly top 5. I don't think he could be number 1.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because if you look at through most of the stretches last year, like I said, he was on pace to be the wide receiver 3 for most of the season last year.
Yeah. Well, and he was. I remember looking, and I'm like, dude, he's still up there. Dude, he's still up there.
Lockett was also like 7th in that time span.
Yeah. All right. So you said DK's at 8 for you, right?
Yeah.
So who do you got at 7? Ooh, I don't like that face.
Keenan Allen.
Oh, wow.
Where do you have him?
I got him at 11.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I love Keenan Allen.
You always have.
I think he's probably the best just like slot receiver in the league. He's very good. So last year he played 14 games, air quotes 14. In 2020, finished 14th overall at the wide receiver position. Let's look at the 12 games that he played with Justin Herbert, weeks 2 through 14. He was the wide receiver 4 overall in that span with 15.6 points per game. He was a wide receiver 2 or a wide receiver 1, 67% of that time in those games. Incredibly consistent. And you want to know what's nice? He is one of those absolute target hogs. 5th in targets last year, 147th. 8th in receptions, 100. 19th in yards, 992. Yards per catch, 9.9, 109th. And that's the one thing that was down last year. His yards per catch were way down last year. His career average is 11.9. You give him his career average yards per catch last year, that's an additional 200 yards to his receiving total last year that could have been added.
Yeah, I don't not like Keenan Allen. I obviously he's still in my top 12. I do think he'll be a number 1 this year. And I do think Justin Herbert is going to also, once again, really help propel this offense forward. I just like a couple other players a little bit more. I think he is one of the more consistent guys. And honestly, I'm still not overly a fan of Austin Eckler as much as a running back, but I still think he's going to take a ton of touches away with him coming back.
We've seen in 2019, this is where Keenan Allen finished, with Austin Eckler having that blow-up season.
That's true.
They brought in Jared Cook, who could be washed, could be not. And then you have Mike Williams out there and Josh Palmer. Mike Williams, we probably won't end up getting to. I would have it hard to imagine he makes one of our top 24s. He is a nice sleeper to look at, though, late, because he is going very late. But Mike Williams also has had plenty of time to prove it and kind of hasn't. He's a very inconsistent wide receiver. Keenan Allen, like I said, just an absolute target machine.
Mm-hmm.
He sees a 26.8% target share. Very high, very good. And yeah, those yards per catch numbers come back up. And he is a guy who could produce a little bit better in the touchdown report. 8 last year was tied for his career high. He's usually always giving you at least 6, but he could maybe hit that 10 mark.
Yeah, and if you really think about it, the last 3 seasons before last season, he was a number 1. He was 3, 12, 8, and then last year was 14. And honestly, I think he would have been a little bit higher.
He burned people too at the end of last year. People were playing him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He said he was going to play.
Yeah.
Leaves immediately.
Yeah. If he would have played those 2 games, if he would have played, because he got hurt in the Vegas game, right? But if he would have just done, played those 3 games, he would have finished, I think, again in the top 12.
Oh, no, yeah. Like I said, you take Justin Herbert, starts week 2,
yep,
all the way up to week 14 before he gets hurt. Wide receiver 3.
Yeah, there you go. So that's not bad.
Thank you for watching the Fantasy Monsters on YouTube. If you like today's episode, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel below. We also have a merch store we want you to check out with all new gear that we've got available. That'll be in the description. Also, if you want to see any past videos, you can check that out as well. Thank you so much for watching the Fantasy Monsters. We'll catch you next time.
Have a good one.